Nazi Germany. Oh no! It's megaphone Mamera.
Bro, imagine if a grandma owned Roblox, like a real grandma. You log in, and right when you're about to play, a message pops up. Come eat first. What? I just ate lunch 1 hour ago. But anyways, you go because you want to play Roblox fast. You eat 1 plate. Grandma says, just 1 more plate, you are so skinny. Bro, I'm already full. But you still eat. 1 more, and 1 more, and 1 more. And finally, after 12 plates of food, she says, okay, you can go play now. So you join a game. But suddenly, you start getting bullied for no reason. What did I even do? Then, Grandma joins. She immediately pulls out a band hammer and starts running faster than Usain Bolt. Then in 1 second, every bully is gone. Then she types, who dares to bully my grandson? Bro, that's actually so cool. And before she leaves, she secretly gives you Robux and says, don't tell your mom. She's the best. So like this video if you love your grandma. Bro, imagine if a grandma owned Roblox, like a real grandma. You log in, and right when you're about to play, a message pops up. Come eat first. What? I just ate lunch 1 hour ago.
If you drop down onto your hands and toes, get your back flat.
Yo, why does my door sound like the ghost from Mario?
Oh, why does this door sound like this?
Yo, why does my door sound like the ghost from Mario?
To stop staying up late on my phone, we made a bet for the phone. Every night before sleep, I can't stop using my phone. And then, oh no, I stay up too late. Today's ruined. Is there a way to stop me from bringing my phone to bed? Hey, what if we make a bet just for it? So, we made this smartphone bet. Inside, there is a wireless charger. When the phone lies on it, it starts charging and turns on do not disturb mode. But only charging is not enough. The motor drives gears and turns the chain to pull up a blanket for the phone. It's not to keep the phone from catching the screen. It locks the phone, so you can't take it out to play. You can set an alarm on the screen by the bed. When time is up, it will wake you up. The blanket will open by itself. Then you can take your phone out. Don't worry about heat when charging. You put fans inside the bed to cool it down. Not only your phone can go to bed, your watch, earphones, and also...
This is Alofio's Mario, one of the first reskins of my new custom 3D printed figure. The biggest challenge I had with this was making the mustache and nose because the base design has a completely flat face.
Right, it's lunchtime, so let's go to this Huntrix McDonald's meal. Mick Bish, Mick Bash, Mick Bosh, to the car. We got it. First things first, I'm trying the McFlurry. It looks underwhelming, but taste.
Is that like a full bag?
Is there supposed to be a sauce? Because I'm not seeing
Oh my
it.
god,
Got
it
me
is a
nub,
full
nub, nub.
bag. You
Demon
can't eat
sauce.
all of that, just so you know.
So someone pissed on it with pickle. And
give
Hunter
it some
sauce
high
smells like spicy ketchup, but will it be golden? Not really. It's like a vinegary barbecue. Of the two, the Huntrix is better though. But nothing can ever compare to my sweet British curry sauce. That right there is how it's done. We then have the McShaker fries, where you shove some fries in, add your salt, and shake. They smell greasy, look salty, and they taste...
So round, room. Okay. There's a bet. Who's this one? Let me see. Oh, Musketeer. Yes. Musketeers. This is the first? Can't the other eat.
Did you like popcorn pizza? No, I don't. No, yummy.
Do you like popcorn pizza? No, I don't. Real hot, yummy.
Did you like popcorn pizza?
Klosky Sippo. Klosky Sippo. What's this effect? 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 This looks like robot effect. What's this effect? 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 X-ray effect. What's this effect? Thermo effect. Mirror. Tunnel effect. What's this effect? What's this effect? What's this effect?
There are over 4 shows who have been accused of copying Gumball, with similar elements such as animation, characters, writing, and so much more. So today, we're gonna go through all these Gumball clones and see what happened to them, how similar they really are to Gumball, and where they are today. Starting with the most infamous one, Miracle Star, which follows the life of a goat named Meowly Shing, and his talking pet frog Gua Gua. But instead of producing a somewhat new and original show, the creators saw the success of the Amazing World of Gumball and tried to make a knockoff version with their own versions of the Gumball characters. And they didn't even try to hide it. This show just blatantly copied entire scenes from Gumball, only swapping out the characters for ones they actually owned. For example, one scene they copied came directly from the first episode of Gumball, titled The DVD. In that episode, Nicole reminds Gumball to return a DVD of alligators on a train before they get fined. At first, Gumball tries to talk his way out of it, but after seeing Nicole punch the wall because of her full anger, he quickly agrees to return it. But in the Miracle Star version, the exact same scene is played, the only difference being their characters. But this isn't the only time Miracle Star copied Gumball scene by scene. If you search for comparison videos on YouTube, you will find multiple clips of Miracle Star directly copying Gumball, with the only real difference being the character designs. But even the characters themselves weren't unique. The family was simply swapped out with different animals, with Anais being the only one not having a counterpart, possibly due to China's former one-child policy, which restricted most families to only having one child, as well as boys being favored over girls in China. Other characters were also given counterparts. Carrie was replaced by a pot of broccoli, Masami's design remained mostly the same, with the only change being her color, and Bobbert was swapped out for their own robot. Instead of taking the boring approach and suing Miracle Star, Cartoon Network thought it'd be fun to make fun of the whole situation in an actual episode called The Copycats. And this episode starts with the Wattersons grocery shopping in the exotic food section. Gumball and Darwin make fun of strange items, but as they walk away, their counterparts, Chi-Chi and Ribbit, appear and begin repeating what Gumball and Darwin have said. Chi-Chi and Ribbit are versions that the Gumball team made up that's supposed to look like a reference to Miracle Star's characters, but they most likely only took this approach for legal reasons, because they didn't want to be labeled as copycats themselves for using it in this episode. At home, Gumball discovers that their counterparts are Chinese TV stars profiting off the copied versions of the Wattersons episodes, like the DVD as previously mentioned. They do get a little laugh from their counterparts' descriptions, all of them except for Anais, who feels left out because she doesn't have a doppelganger, because obviously they don't like daughters in China. But little did the Wattersons know this would actually end up saving them later in the episode. Fast forward a little bit and they find out that they're copying everything they do. So trying to stop them, they decide to fight against their copycats. But it's pretty much an even match because they're all just using their own moves against each other. Then Anais points out that the copycats aren't really trying to be evil, they're just lacking originality. So the family breaks into a song encouraging them to find their own style and be themselves. But that doesn't work, and the copycats immediately post their own version of what happened. As a last-ditch effort, the Wattersons put their own lives at risk, doing the most dangerous stunts hoping they kill off their copycats. However, that doesn't work, so they take it to the next level and get on a burning truck that's going towards an unfinished bridge. bridge. At first, it seems like they're completely screwed, but Anais uses her big brain and thinks of disconnecting the tank from the truck, helping them, well, not die. But without an Anais of their own, the copycats fall to their demise, being the end of the copycats. After the episode aired, Miracle Star received tons of backlash, having a 1 out of 10 rating on IMDb, leading to its cancellation in 2017. But Miracle Star wasn't the only show that tried to copy Gumball. Back in 2009, there was a show called Pinky Malenky, which follows the main character who's also called Pinky Malenky, who's just trying to fit into a human world. That's pretty much it. He has 2 best friends, JJ and Babs, who are always by his side. At first glance, it's pretty easy to notice that the animation style is quite similar to the Amazing World of Gumball. And there's actually a reason for that. The show's creator, Christopher Millard, worked as a storyboard artist on Gumball in Season 1 and a writer for Season 2. And you can tell this by looking at the very first episode of Pinky Malenky called Snacks, which starts in the Foodman Market Mart, where Pinky explains how important the snack Poppins is to the town of Snackenham, and how much it impacted his life. But soon, his friends discover that Poppins are being discontinued, which causes chaos throughout the city. When Pinky hears the news, he inflates like a balloon and bursts into the air. Immediately, it's clear that Pinky doesn't have the same physical limitations as his human friends. His body is extremely stretchy and aggressive, used for tons of visual gags. He can stretch incredibly far, shrink in size, and basically do things that no human could, which is very similar to the exaggerated movements of many Gumball characters. That said, these wacky stretch gags aren't special to Gumball. Plenty of animated shows like SpongeBob, Animatics, Tom and Jerry, and so much more use a similar format, where the main character can do a bunch of movements and stuff that can't be replicated in reality TV shows. Also, in a 2009 pilot of Pinky Malenky, Pinky has always been a character who can transform and do a lot of things with his body. All before Gumball was even a thing, because Gumball was created in 2011, which means that Pinky Malenky was never intended as a copy of Gumball. But because of the timing, Pinky was seen as a ripoff. But the similarities don't stop there. One of Gumball's standout traits is its used mixed animation styles. From 3D to puppets to live action characters, you name it, and they've done it, which is what makes Gumball so unique. Pinky Malenky, while sticking to mostly basic character designs, isn't afraid to experiment with different animation styles. For example, in the beginning of the episode Change, there's a little gag moment where Pinky Malenky and JJ turn into real-life versions of themselves, with Pinky becoming an actual hot dog and JJ turning into a girl version of himself. However, you can say that Christopher Miller didn't try to copy Gumball, but he instead took inspiration and learned from his experience and time working at the show. I would end it here, however, one of the characters from Pinky Malenky seems to be an exact copy of another character in the Amazing World of Gumball. That character being Babs. This is definitely a stretch, but think about it. She's basically Darwin if he were human and girl. They both wear green and orange. They're nice, supportive, and serve as a friend for the main character. It's possible that Babs was designed as a reference to Christopher Millard's previous work, for something fans could point out and laugh at, but she's not. She's a major support character who appears in multiple episodes. And when a character is similar not only in design but also in personality traits, it stops feeling like a funny cameo and starts feeling more like they took Darwin, changed his gender, and called it a day. So, is Pinky Malenky a ripoff of Gumball? Well, I don't think so. Despite its many similarities, of course, there are going to be parallels in animation, plot, and character dynamics when one of Gumball's original creatives is behind the show. But that doesn't necessarily make it right. It's okay to take inspiration from something you helped create, as long as you bring something new to the table. Take Rebecca Sugar. For example, before creating Steven Universe, she was one of the main writers and storyboard artists for Adventure Time, another really popular show. But instead of copying Adventure Time's characters, plot, plot and animation style, she used what she learned from the experience and built something original. That's why Steven Universe became such a success. It had lovable characters, an interesting story, and different animation. There's a difference between being inspired by something and copying it. To quote Gumball himself, be your own you, try something new, and find your own things to do. And that quote will be important for this next show we're going to talk about. Just keep that in mind. But to answer the last question, what happened to Pinky Malenki? Well, it seems that Pinky Malenki was canceled. Though there's no official news that the show was canceled. The show was completed for years, but it didn't release until 2019. With all that time the show was finished, the people behind it probably moved on. Not only that, but when the show was first announced, it immediately got backlash for supposedly being a knockoff of Gumball, which put the final nail in the coffin for another season. And since we're talking about Netflix, the platform that hosted the show, they are notorious for canceling less popular shows to put more money into shows that seem more successful. But another lesser-known show that is also been accused of copying Gumball is Elliot from Earth. Elliot from Earth follows a boy and his mom who are transported across the universe, landing in a strange world filled with aliens. Far from their home planet, which is Earth, they try to find out who brought them here and why. They start building a new life on this planet and eventually meet some characters, including Mo, the talking dinosaur. Unlike other shows I've mentioned before, Elliot from Earth doesn't exactly have anything that stands out that could be considered a copy of Gumball. One of the first things you'd probably notice while watching Elliot from Earth is how much the animation reminds you of Gumball. Both shows have those moments where the animation really goes all out. Super detailed, almost cinematic shots you'd never expect in a cartoon. It really shows how much effort went into making both shows. So why do they look so similar? Well, it's not just a coincidence. They were actually made by the same UK-based branch of Cartoon Network Studios. The shared production team explains a lot, from fluid character animation to the detailed backgrounds. You can totally see similar things in both shows. Not only that, but Sarah Fell, one of the producers on Gumball, actually stepped up as a creative director for Elliot from Earth, which is probably why both shows have a similar vibe, same humor, and really identical animation. Even if the Gumball animation can be explained by them being produced by the same team that brought us Gumball, there's a character that also seems really closely similar to Darwin, which is very similar to the previous situation with Pinky Malenki. For starters, they both have positive and curious outlooks on life, always trying to do the right thing and make others feel happy and included. Both characters are incredibly loyal friends. Darwin is always by Gumball's side no matter how wild things get, and Mo forms a strong bond with Elliot, sticking with him through every adventure. But that makes sense for a character who is supposed to support the main character. However, there's more. They are also both highly adaptable. Darwin goes from a pet fish to a walking fish who has implemented himself in the Watterson family, and Mo, who was originally a dinosaur walking on his 4 legs, adapted to walking on 2 legs. And they use glasses for his weak eyesight. They both even have a similar color scheme, with Darwin and Mo each having green and orange colors. So is Elliot from Earth a ripoff of Gumball? Well, from what I can gather, I don't believe so. While the show might share some surface level similarities with Gumball, Elliot from Earth seems to lean more towards its story-driven scenes rather than your typical webtoon. Its characters, storytelling, and writing feel unique and very promising. Unfortunately, though, the show was quietly canceled after only 16 episodes. Although it was never officially canceled, enough time has passed since the first season finale for many to assume it won't return for a second season. And it seems that there's a cliffhanger in the last episode, which makes things even worse for big fans of the show. Not only that, but the show's creator and showrunner, Guillaume Cassoda, parted ways with Cartoon Network just a few months after the finale. Then, in 2022, the show was removed from HBO Max, along with several other Cartoon Network titles to save an extra buck. Out of all of the shows on this list, Elliot from Earth feels like the most promising one that ended too soon. Given it was created by some of the talent behind the amazing world of Gumball, I wouldn't be surprised if the show could pull you in with its unique characters and world like Gumball did. However, the next show accused of copying Gumball is Harvey Beaks. This show, however, the next show accused of copying Gumball is Harvey Beaks. This show follows a bluebird named Harvey and his friends, Fee and Foe, as they explore their life in Little Bark Grove. At first glance, nothing about this show really screams to be a copy of Gumball. Both shows take place in different environments and both have different animation styles. They are also both produced by different networks, until you realize Harvey, Fee, and Foe are similar to Gumball, Darwin, and Anais. At first glance, it might seem like they are totally different groups, but when you dive deeper into them, you can see some similarities between each group. Each trio is made up of young, adventurous characters with unique personalities that balance each other out. Harvey is the kind, thoughtful one, kind of like Darwin. Fee is the chaotic one who reminds you of Gumball, and Foe, while not as smart as Anais, kind of reflects her dumber side, as seen in the episode The Goons. Not only that, but they also share similar color schemes. Gumball is blue like Harvey, Fee is pink like Anais, and Foe is orange like Darwin. Speaking of Foe and Darwin and Foe both grew up without their families and have a similar backstory. We know that Darwin was sold to Richard in the episode The Origins, where he was thought of as just a pet fish. But after being separated, the love between Darwin and Gumball kept their spirits and hopes up that he would return. And return he did. Despite all the challenges he had to face, he was given opportunities that make him the fish we all know today. Although we still don't know who Darwin's parents are or how he ended up in the shopkeeper's van. And even though Darwin would like to know who his parents are or where he grew up, he found a new family who love him and treat him more than just a pet. When it comes to Fee and Foe, they were both separated by their parents and had to survive on their own. Although they did reunite with their parents, Fee and Foe looked up to Harvey's parents when their parents weren't there, and thought of Harvey as family. A random similarity, but Harvey's family were also animals like the Wattersons. But this is definitely a reach. As for the environment, Harvey lives in a literal forest, so that makes sense because they're birds, but it's definitely something to point out. So, is Harvey Beaks a ripoff of Gumball? From what I can gather, once again, I don't see it. The two shows have their own unique style, tones, and stories. There might be a few similarities between them, but it doesn't seem like they're straight up copying Gumball, and more like taking inspiration, which makes total sense, since both shows were created by C.H. Greenblatt. What really sets apart Harvey Beaks is how deep the show can actually get. Harvey Beaks isn't afraid to tackle themes like family and even death. Topics that are surprisingly heavy for a kids' cartoon. Not to say Gumball doesn't also have these moments as well, as they have many episodes that can get quite subscribe. And if you don't want to, that's okay. But if you were on at the time, like SpongeBob or the Fairly Odd Parents, the show then was eventually pushed to Nicktoons, where it seemed to be left to die. But because you made it all the way to the end of the video, you should subscribe. And if you don't want to, that's okay. But if you enjoyed this video and you want to help us create more content like this, it really helps us out.
Get off my couch. Off. Yeah. I ain't saying the puppy, sorry. I didn't see no rumble yet. Where Crester died.
Throughout Gumball's history, we have seen many couples featured in the show. However, not all of them have the best chemistry. And today, I'm gonna be going over the 5 best and 5 worst couples in Gumball. Starting off with probably one of the most adored couples in the show, and one of the longest lasting ones too, which is none other than Richard and Nicole Watterson. Now, Richard and Nicole have been seen to be a very unique couple throughout the show's lifespan for multiple reasons. Starting off with the fact that at a first glance, people would most likely think that Nicole and Richard's relationship is dysfunctional. However, it's actually the complete opposite. Obviously, Nicole and Richard are two very different people, but that doesn't stop them from loving each other, which is what makes them such a good couple. We see a good example of this in Season 2, Episode 5, The Treasure. And in this episode, we see Gumball, Darwin, and Anais notice that they've been having cheap variants of everything around the house for a while. So they decide to start doing some digging, and end up discovering that a long time ago, a $24,000 charge was made to a company named Stellar Corporation, which is ultimately what made the family go cheap mode. And at the end of the the episode, we find out that it was Richard who made this transaction, and he admits to buying a whole star, which was a clear scam. But in between all of this, Richard discovers that Nicole has always known about this, and while most couples would have flipped over this, Nicole forgave Richard, which just goes to show how good their dynamic is.
You knew? But how?
You talk in your sleep.
And you don't hate me?
I knew you tried to do well. It wasn't your fault, honey. It was the internet.
Along with all of this, we learn more about their backstory in the episode The Choices, where we learn how Nicole met Richard at a park and how she eventually accepts him. Then after, we see more flashbacks of how cute they were with each other back in the day, and even helps us see how Nicole's parents originally didn't accept Richard, which led Nicole to move out, and Richard would also leave his parents, but in a worse way, as he would actually get kicked out, which led him and Nicole to live in a small apartment for many years. And then they eventually had Gumball. Now, this episode alone really shows the sentiment.
Effect. What's this effect?
Sour bunny's dope.
I just found a way to glitch underneath the floor in Geometry Dash, and it completely breaks the game. Let me explain. I was messing around in the editor, and I had a really dumb question. What happens if you try to go under the floor? Like, it shouldn't be possible, right? But I tried anyways. First, I set up a teleport trigger that sends you way below the level, but the second I got teleported, the game just forced me right back on top of the floor, so that didn't work. Next, I tried forcing it. I made a bunch of blocks move downward to push the player into the ground, but the second I tried it, I just died instantly. At this point, it felt impossible, but I wasn't going to give up, because I had one last idea. This is the rotate gameplay trigger. It completely changes your gravity and lets you walk on walls. But what would happen if I rotated the entire gameplay down into the ground? So I tried it, and the second I hit the trigger, this happened. Yeah, I broke the game. I just found a way to glitch underneath.
This Lego model would be impossible.
1 hour later.
Place the prosthetic on your arm stump and press your finger.
How dare you for not knowing it? We're not allowed to talk about it. Top first, of course.
Mom, don't cut my hair. But your hair is already too long. Let me cut it for you. But at school, there is a competition. Whoever has the longest hair will win a $1 million supercar.
Why didn't you tell me earlier? I will help you get hair 1,000 times longer. You will win.
All right, it's time to start the long hair competition, everyone. The first contestant, come forward. My hair has been growing for 10 years. Is that enough for me to win, teacher?
10 years of hair? That's nothing. Next contestant, step forward.
10 years of hair is nothing. My hair has been growing for 100 years, teacher. I will win this competition.
100 years? That's unbelievable. Where is the last contestant? Hey, you, did you skip school?
I'm here, teacher. This is my 1,000-year-old hair. I already win, right?
Not yet. You are still missing 1 like and 1 subscribe.
The 2 buttons are locked. Whoever can press them, please comment number 8. Thank you. Mom, don't cut my hair. But your hair is already...
What if we add these 99 nights? They would...
Please, stop hitting the sea lion. This is getting out of hand. People are even doing it underwater now.
Everybody doing what we get the sea lion.
Even Chipotle workers are doing it now.
Everybody doing what we get the sea lion.
But to be honest, it's okay if he does it.
Everybody doing what we get the sea lion.
This guy can do it too.
Everybody doing what we get the sea lion.
Who does it better, sea lions or humans? Please, stop hitting the sea lion.
worst update ever. On March 13th, 2026, Roblox announced that they would be changing connections back to friends. Not long ago, out nowhere, Roblox replaced the word friends with something called connections. And players immediately thought, wait, did they really think we would start saying connect me instead of friend me? That just sounds weird. Nobody liked the update. So the community complained, protested, and for once, Roblox actually listened. Connections are now friends again. So like and subscribe if Roblox should stop changing things nobody asked for.
He attached a custom drone frame to a small object.
Majesty, there's a second bus coming! Majesty, there's a second bus coming! Majesty, there's a second bus coming!
Can I build the tallest tower? Wish I didn't feel the hurt. No. The smallest violin really needs an audience. Okay. Let's start building.
Roblox, what the hell is this?
You're not allowed to say, where are you from? What are your socials? Or also, hi, hello, hey.
They didn't even mention how old are you. Just delete the whole chat at this point.